So I was watching the punk rock NBA, as you do, and I heard Finn say that he didn't want to cover the Taking Back Sunday brand new beef. To which I responded, emo bands had beef? I suppose in hindsight it kinda makes sense. Emo is about wearing your heart on your sleeve, so why wouldn't they be open to this kind of stuff? But I was listening to both bands all the time back in the day. I didn't really get the memo that they're emo and so we're not supposed to listen to them. It's gatekeeping, it's stupid. But I definitely didn't know that they had beef. And since Finn wasn't gonna talk about it, I figured, well, maybe I should just look into what happened before I make the decision on whether or not to talk about it. And so I did. And what I found was oddly familiar, pretty juvenile, somewhat overblown, but interesting. John Nolan and Jesse Lacey were childhood friends, but I guess when you're close to someone for a long time, you start to see the flaws in their character. And if those feelings aren't addressed, you'll probably do or say or sing something you'll regret. But I'm getting ahead of myself. John and Jesse were friends, best friends according to the lyrics we'll discuss in a bit. Jesse, as you probably know, was the frontman for Brand New, and John was the primary songwriter for Taking Back Sunday, where he played guitar and did secondary vocals. However, Jesse was actually a former member of Taking Back Sunday. Eddie Reyes of the Movie Life fame wanted to start a new band. He started a band called Runner Up, but it was short-lived. He then spoke to Antonio Longo and Stephen DeJoseph in a coffee shop about starting a band, and they said yes. Longo wanted John Nolan to join, and Nolan wanted Jesse Lacey, who would be playing bass, to join. And thus Taking Back Sunday was born. By the way, TBS had so many former members, they eventually made a shirt that said, "I used to be in Taking Back Sunday." Also, by the way, every time I say TBS, I think of TBS, very funny. I don't know why. It's just stuck in my head. Anyway, now to the inciting incident. John and Jesse liked the same girl, but John ended up kissing her, sending Jesse into a depressed and jealous state. He quit the band and formed a brand new band called Brand New in 2000. The other version of this story is that John kissed Jesse's girlfriend, but I'm going with Sean Cooper's explanation that they just both liked the same girl.
Tell us that, okay. John and Jesse liked a girl. John made out with a girl before Jesse did. Jesse got bummed about it, and all these songs happened because of it.
The other version of this story is that Jesse never quit TBS, but had started Brand New on the side. Thing is, he never really wanted to play bass anyway, and according to John, he just transitioned out of TBS. Sean Cooper, who would eventually play bass for Taking Back Sunday, TBS, saw a TBS show where Jesse was on bass and Adam was on vocals. Now, if you've read how each member was recruited, this is pretty confusing because it was said that Adam joined TBS because Jesse left. Adam started on bass and then he moved to vocals when Antonio left. Anyway, as confusing as this all is, the point is there's a love triangle. John kissed the girl, Jesse was pissed. Okay. So here's my hot take on this. Whoever this girl is, she is a national treasure and should be treated as such. You know why? Because if it wasn't for that kiss, we would not have Brand New. We would not have 70x7. And we wouldn't have There's No I in Team and Timberwolves at New Jersey from Taking Back Sunday. And to be fair, these aren't my favorite songs from these guys, but I must admit they're pretty great. Especially when you know the lore behind the music. And this is why I can totally acknowledge that this beef is Nothing particularly special, and that we can all move on with our lives and blah 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 blah. But the fact is, the event created a real world narrative that breathed more life into already good songs. And I'm saying this as someone who didn't even know about the beef at the time. But just as the Biggie versus Tupac or the Jay-Z versus Nas beef, I feel the music way more than I would if I didn't know what the hell they were talking about. I mean, how many times have you listened to a song and heard these cryptic lyrics and felt a bit of frustration at not knowing what the singer is talking about? So if you feel like you're above it, listen, that's fine. I don't think anything's wrong with that. But I know for me that being in the know makes things way more electric. I just wish I knew back then. But okay, fine. On to the music then, shall we? So remember when I said that when you know someone for a long time, their flaws are super obvious? And if you don't nip your feelings in the bud, they can spill out? Yeah, so I want to start this in an unorthodox way. I want to reference Timberwolves at New Jersey first, because that's the song where John Nolan characterizes Jesse Lacey as the stylish, quiet, smart, and attractive dude that girls just seem to love. Now, why do I think this song is about Jesse? Well, other than the numerous digs at the subject's ability to write, or inability to write, and their failure to make anybody side with their opinion, it's because of the line, "I got the mic and you got the mosh pit." That's some singer versus singer beef. So John notices how much Jesse's liked. Okay, there's no big deal, right? But when we listen to There's No I in Team, the song that serves as the direct response to brand new 70 times 7, John wrote, "You never knew, well I never told you. Everything I know about breaking hearts, I learned from you, it's true. I've never done it with the style and grace you have, but I've made long-term plans based on these mistakes. Moreover, I swear you have no idea. The jealousy that became got me thinking that you always had it way too easy." Sounds to me like John was jealous of Jesse. He blames his jealousy on why he did what he did, and that he only took a page from Jesse's playbook. Now, having said that, he doesn't regret it and invited Jesse to drop the beef. To John, all's fair in love and post-hardcore emo war. And again, if he never did it, we wouldn't have these awesome songs and Brand New as its own musical juggernaut. But now we have to move on to the song that kicked this all off, 70 times 7. I don't know if Jesse understood the Bible passage that the song title is based off of, because the Bible verse, Matthew 18 verses 21 to 22, is about forgiving your brother, but I don't hear any forgiveness in the song at all. Or maybe he was trying to be ironic. I kind of hope not, because it's not ironic. It's just a contrast. But I still don't understand why that matters. To me, it just undermined the point of the song. But anyway, Lacey continued on this theme of knowing someone for a long time and the fallout that may happen when you see the underbelly. He sang that he was trying to keep his friendship with John together for 12 years, but this one incident was enough to want to kill him, as only a best friend could. Now, perhaps John was a better songwriter than Jesse, but that fucking line is brilliant, and honestly, I relate to it deeply. It tears you up inside when a friend backstabs you. Yeah, sure, the girl involved in the love triangle also makes you feel shitty, yes, but it hits different when your bro is in on the act. Ultimately, you grow up, and you realize that no one owes you anything, especially in this scenario because the girl in question wasn't Jesse's girlfriend. There was no commitment, and so, in my opinion, Jesse was being possessive. He had it in his mind that this girl was his, and to see his best friend swoop in and kiss her, his preconceived notions of his relationship with the girl was blown to bits. I can get that he wanted the girl, but okay, you missed one and your bro got her instead. He was jealous of you, and now you're jealous of him. But even if she was Jesse's girlfriend, you're only doing yourself a disservice when you make everything about you. People do what they do because of who they are. Once you make it about you and take it personally, you're screwed. When you live your life that way, you start to think that life's against you when things go wrong. And when things go right, you aren't as thankful because you think you ought to get whatever you want. Now, this song isn't exactly the gotcha that I think Jesse Lacey wanted it to be. To my eyes and ears, he's bitter because he didn't get a girl that wasn't his. I mean, maybe she liked him, but she wasn't his. He didn't get the girl that he earmarked to be his. He did more damage to himself than John ever did. Now, this was all from 20 years ago at this point. So what was the aftermath of this? Well, people continued to speculate that the beef was still piping hot when they found references to each other in each other's tracks in their debut albums as well as their sophomore albums. Certain lyrics in certain songs kept fans guessing. I don't really buy into the theories that those other tracks are related to the feud. To be honest, it's about as silly as thinking that Jesse literally said to John, "You're as subtle as a brick in the small of my back, so let's end this call and end this conversation." I'm sorry, that's fucking ridiculous. I don't know. I don't know how people genuinely think that he genuinely said that. There's no flipping way he said that. But if he did, if he actually said that, wow, that's all I gotta say about that. Okay, so TBS has a song called Ghostman on Third, right? And it also has a reference to the small of your back. Does that mean that it has something to do with the beef? Of course not. So I'm sticking with the canonical diss tracks. Thank you. Okay, what happened next? Brand New printed a shirt poking fun at Adam Lazzaro. Taking Back Sunday retaliated with a smart and better designed response, in my opinion. When Brand New proposed a tour with Taking Back Sunday in 2002, John was optimistic that he could regain his friendship with Jesse. I mean, after all, they were friends since they were kids. And it happened. Each came on stage for each other's diss tracks and played along. So after not talking for about a year, the beef was over. And a new beef began. Actually, a couple. In an interview with Alternative Press in 2015, Adam Lazzaro said that Jesse Lacey was a dick and that he wasn't a good person. Did Lazzaro know something that we didn't? Well, he never really explained why he said what he said, but in 2017, allegations against Jesse came out that he solicited nudes from a minor when he was 24. Jesse apologized and admitted that it was true. He said he suffered from sex addiction back then and had been getting help for it for years. Now, this allegation puts the incident in question in roughly 2002 to 2003. So what was Taking Back Sunday going through at this time? They were on the verge of breaking up. Adam had been battling some demons and he was losing. All the band members drank, but Adam was hitting the bottle particularly hard. He had everything he wanted, but he still was deeply unhappy. His bandmates saw his spiral and decided to quit drinking, which incensed Adam because he knew why they did what they did and that he would have to stop drinking. Unfortunately, with no alcohol to hide behind, he was just a dark cloud looming through the band. He had been going out with John's sister, Michelle, but had cheated on her multiple times. He promised to make it better, but ultimately, he didn't. He apologized to John for everything, but then he was overheard bragging about how he merely told John whatever he wanted to hear. This all occurred at the Skate and Surf Festival, and it was at that point John was done with Taking Back Sunday. They tried talking it out, but after storming out, John didn't speak to Adam for 7 years. Sean Cooper followed him out the door as well. They would eventually form Straylight Run with John's sister, Adam's ex-girlfriend, Michelle. Taking Back Sunday would begin to implode over the next 2 albums. They recruited Fred Mascherino and Matt Rubano to replace John and Sean respectively. They recorded Louder Now and released it in 2005. Now, the rest of the band never really took to the new additions, as they felt as though the new guys were trying to take over the band because they were more technically proficient musicians. Mascherino quit after this big argument and was replaced by Matt Fazzi, and it was more of the same. Eddie Reyes even recounted when he had to do some recordings for 2009's New Again album, and Fazzi and Rubano went into the studio and did it for him. After the album was done, Fazzi wanted to take a break to work on some solo stuff, which was the perfect opportunity for the band to kick him and Rubano out. And that's exactly what they did. And in a weird twist of serendipitous fate, John and Sean decided to rejoin the band after drummer Mark O'Connell declared that he would quit the band if they didn't get John and Sean back. They all got together, hashed things out, with Adam specifically asking John to tell him everything he'd done that hurt him. So the gang got back together, hit the studio, and recorded their 2011 release, Taking Back Sunday. Honestly, you couldn't name it anything better. I think that's perfect. And things were decent for a while until Eddie Reyes, the founder and blood of the band, decided to walk away to address his alcoholism. And as you know, Brand New was calling it quits slowly but surely since about 2015. They released Science Fiction in August 2017, and then the allegations against Laci came out in November of that year. A pretty sour way to end a perpetually critically acclaimed band. The final hurrah, however, was on December 31st, 2018, when a fan dropped a demo that is allegedly from the pre-Devil and God era. I've seen it on YouTube with the title Simple Man, but some Redditors over at r/brandnew have theorized that this song is actually called Lazy. In an uncredited interview, Jesse Lacey speaks about a song that drummer Brian Lane wrote called Lazy, that Laci initially wanted to be on the album. Which album Jesse's talking about, I'm not sure, but I guessed it would be Daisy since he mentioned You Stole earlier in the interview, which is a track off of Daisy. However, in the original download details, the track was from an album called LV Demos. LV would stand for Longview, one of the studios that Brand New recorded The God and Devil Are Raging Inside of Me, which would imply that this song isn't really called Lazy. It's just a word that's sung in the lyrics and people put 2 and 2 together. The song is probably called Simple Man. So Simple Man was Brand New's swan song, and the lyrics in it are pretty interesting. If they are in fact written by Jesse and about Jesse, it paints him as a guy who wishes he was less complicated and had led a less complicated life. He rues his jealousy and not mending old wounds. It's a song of regrets, but it's also a song of self-awareness and maturity. And finally, I can't think of a more appropriate way to end all of this other than referencing the words of BN 2018 Simple Man, the Redditor who gave the world this unreleased gem. He said, or he wrote, "I don't know if redemption is possible, or if it should be. Bad people can do good things. Good people can do bad things. Maybe one day we'll all get some closure. Thanks for watching.